All right. Hey, look, friends, we're doing another video, and guess who? JasonBlaha Strength and Fitness. Oh, ooh, he's got a nice picture under light here. Good lighting. I like how he fixed that picture. Try to find the best one, of course. You want him to look like a melted candle now, broski. So JasonBlaha, the fitness slave, lifting gym fitness slave, says progressive overload drives muscle growth. Ho ho ho. Yeah, okay.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about progressive overload and understanding that progressive overload is the biggest driver of muscle growth.
All right, I'm going to debunk that right off the bat, okay? That isn't the driver of muscle growth. A weight doesn't drive muscle growth. You want to know what drives muscle growth, man? This is from NCBI right there at the bottom. See that, PMC? So they just put the clip up from inside on the top here. So resistance, exercise, nutrition, whatever. If muscle is going to gain mass, protein synthesis must exceed protein breakdown. Does people understand what that means? People start screaming and yelling, genetic beast wants me to eat all this protein and everything to build a muscle. What do you think builds muscles? What do you think built it? You think air built it? Lifting a heavy weight built a muscle? How could a heavy weight build a muscle? How could a progressive overload build a muscle? Explain that to me, please. I'd love to know. Where at anywhere in NCBI does it say that progressive overload will build you a muscle? Not That's why none of you are building muscles and you're all screaming fake natties and going to your noble natties and everything, and people complaining about my channel, screaming and yelling because I use real science, not fake stuff, okay? Nowhere in here does it say progressive overload. It says if muscle is going to gain mass, protein synthesis has to exceed that breakdown. In other words, you gotta stop the breakdown because proteins are being built up and broken down. But when you come to a gym, while it may be common to view resistance training as a powerful stimulus for protein synthesis, yes, it is also important to recognize that it is a signal for what? Protein breakdown in the gym. So you're actually breaking proteins down in the gym, so you're not building them up. That's why in NCBI, there's a report, it says that muscle could actually gain mass like just eating. You don't have to even lift weights. You literally can eat, and if protein synthesis exceeds breakdown, then the myofibrillar will gain mass. You understand me? Without lifting a weight. Weights don't build muscles. Food does. But if you wanna exceed that domain, all you have to do is injure the muscle fibers once and get a donation of those nuclei. Then you have to exceed that breakdown. Protein synthesis has to exceed that breakdown. And then those cells, they'll get bigger. Yeah, not a progressive overload. Get it, broski? Yeah, man.
The biggest driver of muscle growth.
That is the biggest driver of muscle growth, man. Fucking progressive overload. This guy's so full of shit. That's why he's so small. He's been hacking at it for 35 years, believing for 35, can you imagine 35 years hacking at it, believing that a progressive overload is going to magically build a muscle. That's why he's never building a muscle. But guess what? It may happen one day when he reaches 100.
We say that it's not saying, hey, we chase as much weight on the bar as we can get on there through any means necessary.
I'm going to tell all you Nimrod people on his channel, weights do not build muscles. Repeat after me. Weights, a piece of metal, moving it around does not build a muscle.
In other words, the reason adding weight to the bar or adding reps causes more muscle growth and a more robust training response is because the
What? See, this is the ignorance. Oh, it's going to create more muscle growth. Yeah. Where's his muscles then? Where are they?
muscles have to work harder. Okay,
They have to work harder. So if they work harder, they're gonna grow. Well, I thought they're breaking down. They're breaking proteins down. How could they be growing?
challenging the muscles to new stimulus. We're creating an environment where they are having to work harder, be subjected to more tension, more stress, and
more tension, more stress. That doesn't build myofibrillars. But if you eat a lot of glycogen and do this, you could get the pump. Yeah, you can build these sarcoplasmic fake glycogen muscles like everybody else.
Accordingly, they adapt, right? It's called specific adaptation to imposed demands, said.
They adapt to post demands and all that. They're gonna adapt. They're gonna adapt to your 1 meal, 2 meals, 3 meals a day, or whatever, your regular 3 meals a day. And you're gonna go lift a weight in the gym. Yeah, they're gonna adapt magically to that meal by you lifting a heavy weight. Not.
Said principle in exercise science. In other words, muscles in our body.
To grow a muscle, when it says that protein synthesis needs to exceed breakdown, they're talking about being in an anabolic growth state. What does that mean to you? It means you can't be hungry when you wake up in the morning. You can't be hungry. When you go to sleep at night, you can't be hungry. You need to be full, and I mean really full, with food to be in an anabolic growth state, to shut off the catabolic hormone so that there's no breakdown in protein so you could start building muscles. Yeah. So if you want to focus your training, the dummies, on lifting a heavy weight thinking it's going to build the muscle, go ahead, keep doing that and screaming fake natty. But the guy that trains his body to eat food, stretch out the stomach, eat more food, consume more food, stretch the stomach out, and then you can consume more food, stretching it out, you'll start building your body. You'll notice your body is going to start building. But if you don't train your body to build muscles, training to eat, then you will never build the body. And you'll be like everybody else, like him, in a garage lifting a heavy weight, pretending you're building muscles. Saying, I get progressive overload, bro. I'm progressively overloading. It's going to grow a muscle, bro. They're going to lift heavy, man. It's going to get big, yeah.
Adapt to the specific demands that we place upon it, okay? Human body's an adaptive machine. All right.
But, you know, the best, yeah, adaptive machine, my ass. The best is when they say, hey, man, I'm getting the pump, bro. What do you think steroid people get when they walk up and down stairs? They take an injection, this, that. People say they're growing muscle just walking up and down stairs. Want to know what they're getting? The pump. What's the pump? The pump associated with? Glycogen. And what's glycogen associated with? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Yeah.
What that means is your form needs to be kind of the same. You know, so in other words, if you cheat an X amount or use X amount of body English, because in many cases that's permissible, okay? There are plenty of exercises we can benefit from that on curls to a...
Man, he looks like shit. He looks like shit.
To a certain extent, right? In other words, loaded to the top and using tons of swing, you know, to get it started. In other words...
I don't understand this swinging, but okay. You know, each to their own, right? I guess, whatever. I don't understand this, but okay.
Bicep is still taking most of the load, okay? But...
The bicep is taking a load, swinging it? Throwing it up and down in the air. Okay, Blaha. You look exactly the same every single day you keep lifting these weights. Every day I see you lifting. Man, I don't get it, man. I look better than you and I don't even lift. How is this possible? I look better than you and I'm 10 years older than you and I look better than you and I don't even lift.
Means we don't necessarily increase the amount of cheating.
Cheating.
You guys are like, if I get this technique, I get, but it's like, if you normally would fail at rep 5, finding it.
Yes.
But I'm doing more work, but.
You're doing more work, failing at rep 5, that's building a muscle. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's all building muscles here.
Your muscles are doing more work.
They're doing more work, yes. They're doing a lot more work.
Actually benefiting. Now, if you were to use that identical technique and you over time.
Like this one guy wrote me on my channel and says he's a factory worker without getting paid. He might as well just go work in the factory and get paid. Yeah. He's losing his time. But he's on like, what is it, mental benefit? He's on mental disability because he's mentally nuts. And so they pay him disability for mental nuts. Well, it can't be for physical because if they caught him doing this in the garage, they'd probably take it away from him.
You can add 50 pounds to the whatever you're doing for 10 reps, okay? But it's not the technique that's there, it's because...
He's been on that disability for the last since he opened this channel over the last 10 years. How old was he then? In his 30s? Shit, when did he ever work? Did he ever have a job? I don't know. Oh, he was in the
You added the
Oh, he was in the UK collecting welfare benefits.
weight or the reps over time while using the same technique. But I would argue you're probably better off on something like a deadlift, resetting every rep and doing it.
See, you need these techniques. Deadlift is gonna magically build this muscle, bro. You out of thin air, man, on a breatharian diet.
Correctly.
Well, it can't be on his food stamp diet. Did you see his food stamps? Holy shit.
You're going to get more muscle development from that.
See, you're gonna get more muscle development from lifting a weight, not from eating. Let's do a competition. I'm gonna go eat at the buffet every single day for about a couple hours a day, and he can lift this weight in the garage. Let's see who builds the muscle. Who do you think would build the muscle, build their body, and build muscle? Me going to the buffet every day, eating, all the best food, and him in his garage here lifting this weight all day.
Same thing we come over to benching. Are you bouncing going or are you touching going? Like, I often not make the case for pausing, but I don't think that we have to. That it's certainly possible to build a really big chest on touch and go bench. It can be absolutely.
Oh, it is? I had no clue. Okay.
Be done. But if you're going to judge the progressive overload, it needs to be with the exact same amount of touch and go. In other words, you're not
Judging the progressive overload, yes, sir. Okay.
You're not bouncing or cheating or adding anymore. Because if you are, then you're not necessarily getting additional overload. All right? And at the end of the day, it is that progressive overload that gets that. The same thing, people are like, well, when I use a slingshot, I get more overload. I can do, 10 reps with my 3-rep max. Yes, because the muscles are doing less work. And you're unloading the muscle at the hardest part where it has the most tension.
Yes, we're unloading. Yes.
All right, this is not valid. All right, progressive overload means our muscles have to do more work.
That's what progressive overload really means. It means your muscles have to do more work. You're making your body putting it under stress, so it's stressing. Cortisol is high, testosterone is low, and putting it under work. Yes, putting it under work, working it.
More mechanical.
You're not growing it, you're working it.
Tension applied to them. They have more workload applied to them.
Yeah.
Because,
accelerating aging, increasing cortisol and the catabolic hormone, because there's a breakdown in proteins now. Putting more work on the body, more stress, and accelerated aging. Yes.
Progressive overload can also be increasing reps. But we need to be clear.
Yeah, you can increase those reps as you're progressively overloading. Your body will compensate with androgen receptor chemical strength to handle these loads.
When we discuss this, it with the exact.
But it will not build your body.
Same move.
And it's not causing damage anymore to the body. It's adapted.
And
By giving you androgen receptors, that's how it adapts.
Or adding 5 or 10 or 100 more pounds for 10 or 100. Because if we are not doing that, then we are not progressively overloading. We're just moving more weight using something else besides the muscles to do it.
Oh? Well, what else are you going to use? Your bones?
So progressive overload, and that's the problem. Some people are like, well, I just use the really lightweight and do this and focus on the feel. Hey, which is great. I don't have a problem with someone really focusing on the feel. But that feel is not necessarily indicative of work, and it's not going to cause a stimulus. The muscles themselves have to act.
A stimulus? Yeah, stimulus for chemical strength. The donation of these androgen receptors, yeah.
Actually be working hard. And just because you feel something doesn't mean you are actually working harder. Such as, again, really, really, really slow negatives. Yes.
If you feel something, you're not working harder. Okay.
They make you sore. Yes, they can dramatically reduce what you do, but they've never been found to cause great muscle growth. If
they weren't found to, the negatives make you sore, but they weren't found to create muscle growth because food creates muscle growth. Duh.
And again, exercise science is incomplete. I don't want anyone.
No, science is not complete. They tell you exactly what builds muscle. Food, bro.
I think I'm saying that the research work done seems to be enormous. You know, and again,
Work done, yes.
because it's also not about tearing muscles down. People have that misconception. That's a whole other thing.
It's not about tearing muscles down. It's about causing micro injuries to the muscle fibers so that they can build themselves bigger, better, stronger, and faster. But protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown to build them. You have to be anabolic, get it, for them to repair and remodel. You know, here's the thing. If you ever heard about these people, they were burn victims. They were burn victims. So what did they do? They fed them 36 raw eggs a day. Remember, they were in a hospital bed. So why did they feed them 36 raw eggs a day? Because that was the number to keep them anabolic. If you're anabolic, your body will heal itself. Do you understand me? Do you understand what anabolic means? It means everything is working. It means a build-up. It's building up. It's not breaking down. Yeah, that's the whole point, to be anabolic, so you could build and not break down.
That's not really what seems to be happening. The tearing is chemical in nature. In other words,
the tearing is chemical in nature? The tearing down of muscles is chemical? No, I don't know. No, man. I never heard that one before.
Metabolic stress is cleaving muscles in a way.
Metabolic stress can cause excuse me, can cause micro injuries, but it can only happen in a state of unadaptedness.
Right? They're not physically being torn by this stuff. So
they're not physically being torn? Yeah, they're physically being torn. They're physically, yeah. When you're moving, the eccentric movement is what causes the micro tears.
So the tearing is metabolic. And
yes, it is metabolic. Yes, the tearing, yes.
A lot of debate as to if that itself is even a critical part of the muscle growth process.
Is that a critical part of the muscle growth process? That is one part of it. The major part is the food. Yeah.
But what we do know is that work done by a muscle, we do know that mechanical tension placed upon the individual muscle fiber absolutely seems to be the prevailing driver of muscle growth from training.
Then why aren't you building any muscle in 35 years? Why haven't you built any muscle? Why do you weigh like around under 200 pounds? Why haven't you built any muscle? Why are you all small like the rest of these noble natties who weigh like 150 pounds or whatever the hell they weigh, 120 pounds? Come on, JasonBlaha, come on. And you're even on TRT, man. Give me a break.
All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today.
You're on steroids. 35 years that you've never built a muscle. You weigh under 200 pounds. And any man that weighs under 200 is a woman. I'll see you in the next one, friends. Tell me what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. More bullshit by JasonBlaha. See you later.